All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. I arrived precisely when I mean to. Good morning, Coach. Yeah, I had a issue with Streamlabs not connecting to YouTube, so I had to restart the app and start that over again. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you all for being here. Good morning, Eric and Paula. How are you?
Good morning.
Well,
Good morning.
thank you guys as always. Eric and I were talking yesterday after one of his reveals, and it was like, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to share some of the reveals that have recently been identified at Copper Coins. We kind of looked at a couple of them. He's found a couple pieces we're going to go over. So that's one of the things that we're going to do today.
Pledge, it's nice.
Yeah, I was showing Paula that this morning, and we were kind of talking a little bit about it. But again, talking a little bit about the difference between errors and varieties and damage and how you can tell and what kind of things to look for. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. But I've got to do it. I know Paula's going to be like, ay, ay, ay. What did you think about the auction?
Hi. Actually, I'm really happy that it didn't go for $1 million. So,
What did it go for?
440,000.
Wow.
Yeah, number one.
I think the last one went for 80,000, and then the other ones in between were somewhere between, like, I don't know, 28 and 42 or something like that.
Yeah, so I broke it all down. I have all of the numbers. The last one went for 90,000.
90,000. Okay.
Yep. If you guys
me that there's that much interest in that.
Say again?
In 10 years, they'll be worth a fraction of what they sold for.
Yeah, so. They'll never recoup from this. I did a video if you want to find all the specifics. But I'll give you a couple numbers. Go ahead.
And I'll bet you next year they're going to be doing something very similar. So,
oh man, this is a huge money grab for them. Huge.
Yeah.
Millions.
The mint. It was the Mint's auction. Stacks was just the auctioneer. Yep. And all of the revenue went to the Mint, and they had to pay 0 in taxes.
So as you're the person who bought it, they didn't release the information. So no. There was no information released on the people who actually purchased it. As Paula stated, it was sold for 440,000. Again, that's the one with the canceled die. So when we look at the total prices, I'll give you some little nuggets. If you want to see the whole thing, go look at the end of my video that I dropped yesterday. Average sell price for the Proof 69 was $27,900. Average sell price for the Proof 70s was $35,563. Total, the big number out of pocket, the massive one, including the $440,000 special case, was $8,049,000 for 230 coins. Huge money grab.
Yep.
Huge money grab.
And I'll let you in on a little theory of mine. Every single one of those coins is exactly the same grade. Other than, I mean, it's possible that, so I don't think after only 230 strikes anywhere, any substantial wear is going to be on those dies.
Right.
But they had to throw in 69s in there. Had they all been 70s, I don't think they would have received the high prices on the 70s that they did. I think they probably would have all been in that 20,000.
That's good marketing.
It is good marketing. They had to do
throw a chill in.
But it makes that's exactly what they did. Those 69s are shills. They had to do that. It just, common sense tells you that if the first and the last are 70s, everyone in between's a 70 also.
Yeah. I saw.
And Ventress Gibson struck every single one of them herself. So she pushed the button. Strike, strike, strike. She stood there apparently and did every single one of them. So
Morning, me.
But that's just my opinion. You know, Paula's always got an opinion, just like her butthole.
Yeah, well, everybody has them.
Everybody's got one. Some just smell worse than others. Anyway,
They're all roses, you know that.
So yeah, so that's my opinion. I think the person who bought I think it's probably like someone like Dan Carr, Mike Byers, somebody like that, somebody that's going to use those dies, recoup some of their money,
or
and then
it's somebody that has more money than sense.
Well, every single person who paid for one of those has more money than sense. But anyway, whatever. If you bought one, I'm sorry.
Anyways.
Planchet quality affect the grade of the coin. Coach's Magic, it can, but those were all like those planchets were pristine before they put them in. I mean, they were all inspected and
here,
they were all pristine before they even reached those striking chambers. So yeah, they were all immaculate.
This is an image of the planchets prior to striking. So they're pretty solid, good looking.
And like another thing,
and typically the strike will obliterate any planchet defect. So
well, planchets aren't smooth. If you see an unstruck planchet,
no, they're not.
They have like nicks and stuff like that.
In fact, there is an error called struck on a pristine planchet. So you're welcome.
But these right here, where they manufacture these is not where they manufacture circulating coins, even though they were done in the Philadelphia Mint. It's done in a separate spot where coins that are manufactured for collections are done. It's cleaner. It's like the San Francisco Mint. If you look at the presses in the San Francisco Mint, they're nothing like the presses that they use for circulating coins.
Oh yeah, totally different. Well, and totally remember that I know you guys know this, but for those that are online that may not, these dies didn't follow the standard die process. These were all laser cut dies. They didn't go through the hubbing and the master hub and the working hub. Say it again.
I think that's the future.
I do too.
I think you're going to see a lot more widespread commemorative type stuff, like on nickels and pennies and special stuff. Because I think that's the future of them laser cutting everything.
It's also going to be the end of double dies as we know it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Unless they, circulating coins, they're probably going to be hubbing dies for a long time. Not a long time, but for the foreseeable future. But anything else, you're going to start seeing laser cut dies just because they're going to get more data from the computer. They're going to know. It's not like right now, the master engraver looks at it and says, this is going to be a weak spot. This is going to be a weak spot. They're going to have AI tell them, you're going to be able to get this many strikes out of this die unless there's some sort of catastrophic failure, because it's going to have everything mapped.
Right.
That's just how laser mapping works. So.
Yeah, but anyway, huge boon for the Mint. If they needed some money for some equipment, well, they definitely got it here. Again, bottom line, $8 million gained. Now, realized, I guess, is the better term for that. There were no taxes on this, but anyway, interesting. So I thought you guys might want to see that.
Coach's Magic. So I don't think it did. I don't think it had an effect either way. I don't think it had enough because it was a private deal, and it pretty much pushed the majority of just us everyday coin collectors out. And it was interesting to watch, but it was a private sale.
Yeah,
And Azer, I don't think he can. I think it's like the Fed Reserve. I think that they're not appointed by the president. They're appointed by their peers.
The mint director is appointed, I believe.
So he can do, but she's there for 5 years. And why would he want to replace her? I mean,
she's
I don't think that there's anything political about anything she's done.
When
Janet Yellen,
Coin Show podcast did their interview of her, she seems like a very nice lady.
Yeah,
she's very lovely.
Very,
she's a veteran.
very nice. Smiled. Of course, she had her, her presentation, her government face on. They screened the questions, but again, seems like a very nice lady, Navy vet. So all in all, I've got zero issue. The problem that I have, and I was going to pull this up, but I was like, oh,
but he'll get to appoint a replacement.
Say again?
Well, he could fire her and replace her.
That's what I think. That's what the question was. I didn't know. No. I thought she was guaranteed 5 years.
No, I mean they can be replaced at any point.
Because I know, like the Fed Reserve, he cannot fire or replace the guy that runs the Fed Reserve. That's all done by the Federal Reserve Bank peers.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about that.
Well, so I don't think Trump has any reason, number one, to remove her. He hasn't really done too much. Hey, Steve, good morning. How you doing, my friend? She hasn't really done too much for.
It's kind of a non-political position. I mean, unless he's got somebody that just begging him to be a mint director.
I don't know that I would go there. There's a lot of political involved.
Yeah,
there has been a lot. The only thing I would like to see is a lot of the DEI removed.
Yeah, I agree.
It really has affected the designs we've had and everything else. I mean,
but a lot of that's out of her control.
Their artistic freedom, it has been really kind of.
Well, and sometimes, like I've seen people that we should memorialize some of the old designs. I agree with that. I would love to see a wheat penny come out for 1 year, or for 200,000, or for $1 million, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not that you can do both.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with Ventress Gibson at all.
A coconut tree. A coconut tree. Did you just fall out of a coconut tree?
I hope they do make a coin with a coconut tree on it.
The only thing that I would say about that is, number one,
it would be nuts.
I think that number one, obviously we know she's got her hands tied. The U.S. Mint is designed to be profitable, so we know that. But I think that there needs to be like a levying veto over some of the submissions, and like some of them just like there's too much of a leftist leaning kind of embodiment on our coins. We look at the semi-quincentennial. We've talked about this a number of times. When you look at what the purpose, what the intent of that is, it's freedom. It's the Constitution. It's not emancipation. It's not civil rights. It's not women's suffrage. All those things came later. It's Constitution. Now, why the hell aren't we putting Constitution-based stuff there?
Well, it's Declaration of Independence.
The Declaration of Independence. So why are we adding all these other things on there?
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with the president. Say again?
Don't get me started.
Oh, I know.
I ranted about that last week.
I know, but again, here's the thing. I don't mind the artistic freedom. And I have nothing against the artists. They're doing their job.
But they don't have any. That's my point. I think it has limited their artistic ability.
Well,
I do. I think it has put them in a box. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but Wonder Woman looks like a dude. Sorry, Matt and Mike, but Wonder Woman
does
looks like a dude.
I mean, I realize in the story, the true story, not the comic book story, she's an Amazon. She's not supposed to be like, you know, gorgeous, but she's not supposed to have a package either.
No, and that one of just her face looks like an anime dude.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like an anime dude.
And like I say, the one of her standing, it looks like a dude.
Yep. It does. And if you zoom in on her face, it's very masculine.
I'm not even talking the face. It looks like she's got a package down there.
Yeah, and my problem is if you look at the Eleanor Roosevelt coin, right? Or look at the quarter, the Eleanor Roosevelt woman's quarter. If you look at the artist's depiction, it looks nothing like
Eleanor Roosevelt.
How it translated on the coin. I fear that the way those are going to translate on the coin are going to be horrible.
But a lot of people need to understand when you're looking at things and you're looking and again, we're talking about modern depictions of mythology, Norse, the Valkyrie, the Amazonians. Pop culture, common culture represents them as beautiful, strong ladies, right? They're not I wouldn't say manly in the term of they're strong, they're independent. It's that stand-up image of a strong, beautiful, powerful woman who has that management over, there's no need for a man, right? But when you are presenting somebody who's supposed to be pretty and you can't get that right, or that doesn't transfer on a coin, it's a problem.
So did you guys watch like the Wonder Woman series with Linda Carter, right?
Of course.
Her name, Linda.
Of course, I was a teenage boy when.
So it always showed. I thought that she was like a Greek goddess. It always showed her in Greek times with her sisters in their little togas, doing all their
right. But she's supposed to be an Amazon.
Yeah,
I mean,
but she was depicted as a very feminine, beautiful, strong woman. You can make her still beautiful and not look like a dude, but strong at the same time. Right? Like, I mean, come on. Especially nowadays. Like, I think that she needs to look like a woman. I'm sorry.
Well, remember, Paula.
I almost saw an Adam's apple there.
Remember, Paula, that
all that.
I'm very critical of
men and women used to be like almonds, joys, and mounds. Now they're like a box of chocolates.
They are.
Yep, because
you never know what you're gonna get.
Yep, never know what you're gonna get now. So, but again, I digress. I don't want to get into that.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, but again, these are the things that if they would really listen to the collector. Now, circulating coinage, they had an opportunity to do something really cool. That's our biggest bet.
Yeah.
If you want to create 50 different items, that's great. You don't have to collect them all. That's not my point. But you have a major anniversary. You have the opportunity to do something really cool. You had a lot of community buy-in. Ventress Gibson herself said, "I heard you." And we were like, "No, you didn't. You didn't listen to what the standard person stated. You took a couple of those items and you said, 'Oh, I'm going to do this.' But you took the one item that was actually a coin and made it so far out of the reach of the standard person.
Mm-hmm.
How in the hell did you hear us?"
And
So-
I think that's going to be repeated.
Well, I
It
think that's
is.
what
I guarantee
when she was
it.
talking
Yeah.
about the West Point Mint. I think that her deep message, her second message in that statement was, "There's not going to be any circulating coins coming out of the West Point Mint. They just got too much. They don't have any extra capacity to do anything like that. But
So
they can do it
They
at
can't
San Francisco Mint. They're already doing it.
yeah,
Run
Ant
those BMS quarters for an extra day and put them in circulation."
makes a really good point, but here's the thing. So Ant is on the other chat. He says, "I heard you" doesn't mean I agree with you. But here's the point.
That's
They were
true.
talking, but they were talking specifically about a coin. They were talking about a very specific design that was put that had a very large population of people that said we wanted this on the circulating coinage. What they did is said, "Oh, well, we're not going to go with that, but we want you to feel like we heard you. So this is going to be an afterthought. Oh, by the way, and the one that's actually a coin is going to be so far out of your reach that you're not going to be able to get it anyway."
Right.
So when we're talking about that, I understand your point, Ant, and that I do agree with, just because I say I heard you, that's like, isn't that nice? That's the Southern way of saying screw you, right?
Bless your hearts. That
Bless your heart. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's the FU statement there. Bless your heart. That's FU. So I understand exactly what you're saying, but remember, this video was talking about a very specific coin, a very specific metal, on something the U.S. did, petitioning people to tell them what they wanted. They didn't do that. And when she said, "I heard you," it was an after effect. It was her trying to quell a lot of disgruntled people, because there were a lot of unhappy people. And there still are a lot of unhappy people at the decision to make the silver medal instead of a coin. Well, we understand the constraints that she's under. She doesn't have the power to actually make a silver coin that's not congressionally approved. There has to be legislative law indicating in order for her to do silver, but she does have the right to do gold. This is why she chose to do the gold coin. She stated that. It was very clear. If you want to go to see the details on that, you can go back and watch the Coin Show podcast with Matt and Mike. Listen to that, and she'll tell you exactly what she was bound by. That's one reason I really liked that interview. But again, there was a very specific item here, and no, she didn't hear us. This was an after fact. She was trying to
She
do
could have made a
PR.
fractional of that coin. She could have made a $5, a $10, a
absolutely,
$20.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then
I think
most
the
of
Mint
us
needs to
would
do
have.
that more 10th ounce.
They do.
Yeah,
They do. So it's not $5,000 when you buy a coin.
And the 2026, they don't need to strike anything at West Point. They just need to put some Bell privies on some circulating coins, because they already have those Liberty Bell privies. Put some Liberty Bell privies on some circulating coins and let us hunt for them. That's all they need to do.
They need to just think about the collector and get out of the pockets of the big people who are making the decisions for the U.S. Mint.
Well, their CCAC just hasn't, they are just out of touch with what the collector really wants, what us, Joe Collector, what we really want to see. And when you try to talk to them about it, you're kind of just brushed to the side, and it's unfortunate. So,
and again, I'm not down on the people. Again, when we talk about policies and processes, these are boards, these are government bodies, governing bodies that are making these decisions. I'm not knocking the individual people, because there's a lot of people, you go listen to those CAC meetings, there's a lot of people that are like, this design isn't good for this coin. This design isn't good. Doesn't look right. Here's a semblance. But then you get people who are way on the other end saying that, well, but the chain represents kind of.
Who are we going to piss off?
Yeah. Right. And it's like, it becomes a very, very politically charged. It's like, how neutral can we make
it's politically
this?
charged when the first question is how does it affect the Secret Service or Homeland Security? Every coin, that's what she asks first. And they always got to sign off on it.
Yeah. So again, there's some issues here, but let's do this. Let's get off. I didn't mean to go down this rabbit hole. I mean, we
Let's
always
talk
go down
about
the
some
rabbit hole.
error coins.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go over some of these. Azure Blue, I bought the gold coin and the silver flowing hair because I thought they were magnificent looking. I only wish the mint would have done some special random gold coins for the public buyer.
And that's
Yeah.
the absolute
I
best
agree.
reason to buy
I
it.
Yeah,
agree.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
I
perfect,
agree.
Azure.
I
I
do think
didn't
that
go
they
with
are
the gold because of what
too
they were doing
expensive.
with the privy, the gold privy. And they basically canceled out any potential value in the gold coins.
I didn't go for the gold because if I want a gold ounce, I'll
You
get
could-
something that's a lot cheaper. This
I
Save
didn't go for it because I
$1,000
wanted to
by
eat.
an ounce and a half.
or I'll buy, you know,
A real
33
silver
or
hair,
something. I
or
don't
silver hair
know.
That's
flowing.
what I would
Yeah.
buy. Is a pre
Yeah.
33.
Yeah.
I'm a St. Gaudens fan.
I mean, they are beautiful. Those flowing hair are beautiful.
So, Ant, we'll go over that in just a second. He said, I'm a bit behind on the videos, but I saw the 55S. It looks like a Fisher. Would you consider it ragged?
It's
No,
cracked planchet.
it's just a cracked planchet. It's I would just call it a defective planchet.
You guys
So
want
let's
to
go
check
ahead and
that
pull
out?
that up and show
When
everybody.
he showed that to me, that's exactly what I said, Eric. I said, yeah, it's a cracked planchet.
You want me to share it? I got it under the scope
Yeah,
right now.
please pull her up.
Yeah. I did pull it. I did pull the video up. I saw a little bit, and yeah, did you weigh it by any chance?
I didn't because my wife has got my scale.
I would like you to weigh it because
Let me
yeah.
see if I can find a second scale.
Just because it's got now,
Yeah, that is a great
crack-
fine dirty water.
the crack probably has everything to do with the weakness on the reverse too. But I would love to see if there's a little bit of a taper there.
Let's see.
So one
Just
reason I wanted
because
him to bring this up is because this is a great teaching moment. This is a great coin to show people the difference between what was
all right, you guys
damaged
get started. I'm going to
and
go see if
what's
I
a
can find
jacked
the scale.
planchet. And so, Paula, if you want to start talking a little bit about what happens in this situation, and again,
I got
he'd have to
something
flip
on.
it over so when he comes back, you'll see the reverse. You'll see that this actually migrates against almost the entire reverse of the coin. So, you want to kind of break this down, talk a little bit about how this stuff happens.
So there's theories on these. Some people believe that these could happen like at the leading or trailing end of the strip. I'm not in that camp. I think that it's more of like a rolling induced thing. It's because of tensile strengths. I think that it probably had some impurities or something in it, or possibly like a thinner area, which caused that to be weak when the blanking die cut it out, punched it. It's a cut and shear, but when it so when these are blanked, there's a cut and shear mechanism. The blanking die cuts partially through the metal strip, and then it pushes it through the rest of the way. So it's a cut and shear. So if you have any like weakness in that area of the strip, it could happen there. It could happen during the roll when it's actually the strip is actually rolled out. There could be a weakness in that area, a thinner area, and the tensile strength causes that to.
Oh, look at that. 2.6 grams.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I thought. I thought it was probably a little bit tapered. If he turns it over, you'll see there's quite a bit of weakness in. Like,
there's the crack goes all the way through. It's actually better on the reverse than it is.
Real quick, Eric, show the back of the head,
Yeah.
and show the softness in the back of the head.
I don't
Not
know
a
that
lot.
that.
No?
I don't know that that's so much related.
You can see it on the
I
5.
think you're going because it's a thinner planchet. You're going to get weakness.
Right.
because the dies are set for a certain thickness.
All right, there's where it starts. Then it basically goes
Yeah,
almost
see,
all the
it's
way
got
across.
that. Yeah, it's got that weakness there. So yeah, it's a thinner planchet,
And it's cracked.
which is probably why it's cracked.
Yeah. And you definitely can see right here the thinness on the rim because it shows on the obverse also.
So somebody's asking when they use the term ragged, what does ragged mean?
Ragged.
Yeah, it's
A
sharp.
ragged. Yeah, a ragged. So they refer to it often as a ragged clip. Now, clip is a misnomer. There's really no clip to a planchet unless you get like a strike clip. But when they say clipped planchet, it's really just an incomplete planchet. And a ragged clip is, again, some people believe that it happens at the beginning or trailing end of the coil, the metal coil, because those are supposed to be when the edges of those coils are supposed to be finished. They're not supposed to, but the theory is that you get a lazy mint employee and they don't finish the edge of the strip. And sometimes when it goes through the blanking process, it can be that edge can be blanked and cause like a ragged.
And so for those of you who don't know, she's not editing out her swear word. It's actually the blanking is actually when they cut the
blank.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. So Ann says, so the proper description would be 1955S tapered planchet 2.6 with a cracked planchet.
Well, I would just call it a oh my gosh. I would just call it a defective planchet, and then I would put the weight. But I would just call it a defective planchet because it could have just been thin in the center of the strip. It could have been an area that was thin.
Looks like starts here. If you
in
look
the
at
center
the rim,
of the strip. So we don't know really that it's tapered. I'm just using that terminology, and I probably shouldn't. I probably would just call it a defective planchet and put the weight.
Yeah, I guess without a micrometer
or a rolled thin.
That's what I say. To determine whether it would be tapered or rolled thin, you'd need a micrometer or something to measure it.
Yeah.
And that measurement would take place with not on the design, on a place without the design.
But I would probably just call it a rolled thin cracked planchet and or just a defective planchet. If he sent that in, they would probably just call it a defective planchet and you almost nowadays have to request that they put the weight on the label. And I wish more people would do that.
Yeah, but it was a really cool find. I wanted him to pull this up. There's actually some other ones that, and folks, again, all of the ones that is going to be shown have been found in roll reveals with copper coins. So if you're interested in potentially getting one of these things, get over to Copper Coins and join in some of these roll reveals. They found some amazing things. Say again?
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm used to you guys cutting me off. It's not a big deal.
I have a little bit of a delay. But those are kind of the planchet flaws that Eric was talking about that just didn't get struck out.
Yeah.
Right here. There's a good example of it right here. You see these little like fissures running all through. That's how the planchets are. I've got a unstruck planchet here somewhere. I've got to dig it out.
Good morning, Hugh. How are you?
You can see little lines in it always.
Morning, Angel.
I would never own a Coinstar Azure Blue. Too much overhead. But what I would love to do is own a huge inventory and just go be able to travel around show to show to show. I would love that and be able to sell some stuff to fund my travels and just teach. That's what
Do the Brian Rains.
Yeah,
Hey,
well, Brian
Tita.
Rains just buys. Brian Rains just buys.
Yeah. Well, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to dye varieties and errors and stuff, he's sharp. He needs to teach more of what he knows, especially in the world coin scene. He's got so many world coins. That's kind of his thing. And I mean, like, I was talking to him at the fun show last year, and he says, I literally got tens of thousands of different world coin double dyes and stuff like that. He says, and there's no way to list them. There's no catalog for any of them. And I says, well, you should do that. And he's like, well, you should help me. It's like, oh no.
Well, he had an opportunity to have one at one time. I'll just say that much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, he had a real
an
job.
opportunity.
I mean, he had a real job and a family and all that. I understand why.
No, I'm talking about he had an opportunity to work with someone to put a catalog together of world coin double dyes.
I know. I am aware.
Yeah.
So, but there's another guy that you talk about, people that are just like know everything about stuff. He knows a lot of stuff.
He'll be the first one to tell you too.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But he's a nice guy.
He's a really nice guy. He's a little.
You can get sticker shock sometimes when you say, "Hey, what do you want for that coin?"
That's because he doesn't want to sell it.
He doesn't want to sell any of them. Every time, the one I bought, JT Stanton's signature series from him. You know, don't buy the coin. I bought the holder. I didn't care about the coin. And he's like, I don't know if I says, you got 4 of them in there. He's like, okay, you know. If I wouldn't have saw those 4, he probably would have wanted double what I ended up paying for it, which was still double what it was worth. So
it's true, Angel. Good morning, my twisted sister. So anyway, that's a very cool little error coin you found there.
I can tell you, I attributed about 1,000 coins in the last 2 days, and I'm labeling them, putting them in flips, and indexing them, filling my albums up where they're supposed to be. So,
show that photo, Eric.
And just so you guys, just for your guys' reference, this falls under the planchet error.
I don't know if I can do
of
that.
PDS
category.
That's a good question for people. What does PDS stand for when you're talking about errors?
See that had presses. Our biggest one was 600 ton. Could stamp out 3/4 inch.
I would expect Ant to get that right.
Copper and on other kind. Very cool, Scotty.
So, Casino Crew asked a question. Got it, I see. Has anyone ever seen a state quarter that looks like it has a partial color, always messed up around the World United, always from Philly, and with a strike through?
You really can't put error coins in that type of box. There wouldn't be a partial color I have seen state quarters with partial colors from all mints. I don't know what you mean by always messed up around the word United, but and if a strike through would also be a random event. So you can't really put those things in a box because they're all random events.
Casino Crew, if you have, I just put my email in there. If you want to send me, email me the photo, show me what you're talking about, we can pull that up and we can talk about it.
Yeah. Partial colors and struck-throughs are separate errors, and they can happen on any coin in any year from any mint.
What's up, William?
I'm not sure what would be causing. So weakness, a partial color, a tilted partial color If that's where it was tilted at in the area of United, then that could explain the weakness in United. But it can be tilted at any point on the collar.
That's the picture, Frosty. Those are all, I've got about another 200 labels to make.
Holy cow, that looks like my desk.
Yeah, it's the guest
Ugh.
bedroom. So no guests are welcome at my house right now.
He's got
And
a
it's actually
few out
worse
there.
Well,
than
I
actually
live in my guest. I live in my guest. I am a guest in my
2,
house.
4, 6, 8, 10.
I live in my guest bedroom.
There's actually 14 of these little bins. And for those of you that want something very useful for your office, the Dollar Tree's got these things for $3 for $1, and 2x2s fit in them perfectly. It's a great $1.25 investment to stop stuff from piling up, to keep it at least in a row.
I should go buy some of those because I have Tupperware containers.
Yeah, if you,
everywhere.
I got
you see the
these.
little red 2x2 boxes, and that's my thing. I've got about 200 of these 2x2
Yeah.
boxes that I don't know what's in them, because it's coins that I've pulled over 25-ish years. So most of these coins were coins that I pulled out over 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's the problem with
Yeah,
these,
coins
is you
are-
can't see in them.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I told myself every around New Year's, I usually pull coins out that I haven't looked at in a long time and try to attribute a bunch of them. This time I hit the boxes. It's like, I am going to make it where I can move that stand because it's kind of sitting in a hallway. And it's like, I'm going to move it. I'm going to get it emptied, and I'm just opening every box as I take it off.
Yeah, I
The
need a
problem is
label
gonna be
maker ant.
The near 400 rolls of scent dye varieties that are not attributed. Yeah, and most of them
partial colors are cool.
Black blue.
Coin Junkie, they're much better on reeded edge coins than
Coin Junkie.
smooth edge. But
Okay.
partial colors are really cool errors.
Do you still have that 43, Eric?
The 43S with the die clash, I haven't gotten it yet. It's on its way.
Oh, it's still on its way from Chuck.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet.
It's pretty
What
cool.
other
When you
what
get that, I
other
wanna see
cool items do you
pictures.
have that we've recently discovered?
Um,
Because we found a lot of cool stuff between both.
I don't have a lot left. Let me see.
I know I just got my package in from you.
Let me get. I don't want to lose this. There was a pretty nice.
I'm gonna put my email. I have a new email, you guys. Also, the LiveCoin Q&A is not taking emails right now, but I have my own email, my Kaneka email.
There's a die clash we found in the same roll, and it's actually, I wish I had a better coin to look at it, but this is my coin. Then you can see the top of the head right there. That was
It's
found
not
in yesterday.
showing.
You have to share your
showing.
screen
Oh.
again.
Yeah,
I'm just looking. I'm like, ooh.
I see nothing. I know nothing. Yeah, so that's my email, you guys. If any you guys want to send pictures and questions, I'm still taking questions.
Yeah, this is
Just
the
try
bottom
to keep it to a minimum if you can.
of the bust right there. And then this is the top of the head right here. There was not much other clashing on it, which is surprising. This is usually a clash area. And then right up here is usually a clash area. But they did try to polish it out. That's why those die scratches.
Yeah, you
are
can
way-
see those die scratches all through that. Yeah.
The small date cents, they get the bottom of the bust clashing right through here to the point where you can almost not read states. I don't know if I got one of those up here. Let me see. I might have one back here.
I just got my 60D 1D03 in.
That's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, it's a GemBU, really nice little piece. Fun stuff. Cool coin. Just got that in from Chuck today.
I think. Is that the one? This, if it's the right die state, this will have a good one on it. You can see it, but it's not the real good one.
Keith and me have been searching
more like
nickels.
Almost looks more like well, Mike Diamond calls it PIDT, progressive indirect design transfer.
But it's direct. See, it's like right there. That actually comes from the base of the.
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
Yeah, in I think you can see it. No,
Man, you can see all the polishing they did. It's crazy.
The head right here. This is a clash right in there, actually. So, but there's really strong ones on the small date scents. This clash on the wheat scent, it's not one that I've seen a whole lot. Usually, it seems like the clashing is when you get a real good clash. You'll see the wheats, the bottom of the wheat stalks up on top. That's a pretty good one. There's no clashing in this either.
Saw a lot of that in that 43S.
That 43S, that's a really great clash.
Yeah.
What do I have here?
So, Paula, can you do me a favor? Can you, while he's showing one of these, can you pull up some of Amanda's amazing overlays and let's talk about how to utilize an overlay,
Sure.
the purpose for them, and what kind of things that you're looking for? I think in many cases, overlays are an underutilized resource they actually tell you a lot about some of the things. It's one of the things when you're searching.
And if you're
coins,
not, sorry, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you're not in our Facebook group, whoops, how did that?
Yeah, see this right here.
If you're not in our Facebook group, you can go to Mad Die Clashes. They have denominational overlays too.
That is right there. Those overlays are amazing. So that right there.
Sorcerer Stan just gifted 5 memberships. Thanks, Stan. I appreciate you.
It's right here.
James Schultz, Thomas tripped on a nickel, David G, Papa York, and John Pierce. Thanks, Sorcerer Stan. Appreciate you, brother.
Which one do you want? Wheat scent?
Ant says he just picked up a 60 small date proof set struck through dime. No 19. Interesting. Do you have a photo of it, Ant? Send me a photo. ! Email. Say that again, Paula.
I'm just, hang on. I'm opening a new tab. Okay.
Morning, James.
Which one do you want? Which overlay do you want to see?
Doesn't matter.
Scent?
Let's pull up a link and set, and then he can show one and we can show. I just think they're a really good resource. And when you're looking at, you're looking for die clashes and you're familiarizing yourself with standard designs, one thing that's really important is that you have all those resources available. So having an overlay of the coin that you're looking at is a really important thing. So, and there we go. Great.
And see on the bottom right there, you can see where the hair is, but you see where the base of the design is. That's not where the die clash hits. The die clash hits up above because where the rim, between the rim and the bottom of the bust is actually tapered down. So the high spot is further up where it would make the clash. And
what's up, Chappie?
The clash on RIB, you can see where that's at. It's basically right by where VDB would be. And if you were to draw basically a straight line from the middle, or from the bottom of the P through the top of the B, that's where the bottom of the high spot on the bust is.
Yeah, I think it's really important when you're looking through. So obviously, if you're going to be looking through coins, you're going to have things like Wexler, Variety Vista, copper coins. But have an overlay. Again, there's a lot of things that you may think is
And
just
these overlays that Amanda did
Don't
are outstanding.
always limit yourself to what you see on the coin either, because
That's right.
dies get out of whack. You can get misaligned clashes. In fact, many die clashes are slightly misaligned. They
the
don't
43 is a
follow
great
the
example.
exact-
Yeah, that's not
they
slightly
don't follow
misaligned.
the
That's
exact.
misaligned.
Yep.
So this is just well, that's what I said when I first saw it, that I thought it was
Yeah.
Yeah.
misaligned, but
But again, make sure you
Yeah,
utilize this.
because not only-
Amanda's
because for two dies to clash, there has to be a mechanical issue, because you have a set distance that those dies are supposed to stay apart. So not only does that get out of whack, but also the alignment of the die can get out of whack at the same time, and it often does. Because it will be loose. And so when those two dies come together that aren't supposed to even come together, even when there's not a planchet in between them, when they do, that means there's a failure somewhere.
We were talking
And
about
that-
oh, go ahead. I thought you were done.
It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
We were talking about unstruck planchet.
Unstruck.
new subscriber. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
I
William
got
Lupton.
Got a thing waiting on Frosty to put it up. That's the striations, and that's how rough an unstruck planchet is.
It's reminiscent of a road coin, parking lot coin.
Yeah. Got this out of a 73D bag.
D-bag.
I was just about to say that didn't
Yep.
sound right.
But I was on my desk and it's like, hey, that has an unstruck piece of the planchet on it. So
Again, welcome, William. Thank you for coming in and
and
subscribing
this is
to
an
the
off-center
channel.
strike, so you know. Not dated, so it's just an off-center strike.
But like I said, there is an error where a coin can be struck on a pristine planchet.
Do you have any examples of that, Paula?
Let me see if I can pull it up. Hang on.
And how would you tell? It's amazing. How would you be able to tell that?
Oh, I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you. Okay. Let me share my screen. You do not come across these very often. So do you see it? Hello? Oh, okay. You pulled it up. So it's a planchet that lacks the usual tumbling marks and instead is a surface free of imperfection. Faint roller marks are often present. And so it says off-center strikes and weak strikes that lack tumbling marks present a conundrum. There are several possibilities, not necessarily mutually exclusive. And it says above that, tumbling marks are eventually erased during a normal strike. We talked about that. That's why that coin that Eric showed that was most likely rolled thin, the strike did not obliterate those tumbling marks and the little planchet imperfections. So it says this is how it can happen. The planchet was just lucky. The planchet skipped the annealing oven. The annealing oven appears to be the apparatus most likely to bang up a planchet. Also, a non-annealed planchet is work hardened and resists damage. So the planchet was abnormally hard as a result of a problem with the alloy, or the planchet was prepared for a special purpose. I think the majority of them are probably because of the annealing. I think that it's the non-annealed planchet is work hardened. So as it goes through the whole process before it reaches a striking chamber, it just doesn't get the damage that you would normally see, the tumbling marks and things like that.
Yep.
And because of that, it's hard and won't strike up. So you can see it looks like a weakly struck coin. But one way to tell that it's not just weakly struck as opposed to on a pristine planchet is a weakly struck coin will have the same appearance as that nickel, but it will have the imperfections and it will probably have more imperfections because the strike did not erase those imperfections.
Because of the hardness of the planchet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So just to kind of reiterate that in some kind of layman's terms, annealing is when you actually heat the metal up and it makes it more pliable, allows you to
heat cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it to where you kind of heat the metal up and it goes through a healing oven and then it cools down and you kind of suck all that back through.
Yeah,
Same thing with the die,
hardening.
right? Dies get annealed quite frequently, or hubs.
Dies are annealed before they are hubbed. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when she's talking about being work hardened, it's kind of like folding metal, right? So again, you're rolling these out, and the more you kind of fold the metal or the metals into each other, it's going to have a certain style of hardness. You see this when you make like swords or knives or things, and they're constantly folding, heating, folding, heating, folding. But this misses the heating piece. So it's like folding just that hard piece. It doesn't allow you to imprint the image. Huh?
Fun fact, copper-plated zinc planchets are not annealed. There's no need for them to be annealed.
They would melt.
Do not go through an annealing process. Huh?
They would melt.
Well,
Yeah,
they just don't.
They don't need it.
Yeah, they don't need it. So. I lost my chat. Dang it. So much to learn, right?
Yeah, tons of information.
You never stop.
It's fun stuff.
Hugh sent me a couple. Unfortunately, you can't see the images very well. One that he got with Anax weakly struck. Unfortunately, you can't see the coin very well. MS65 red 1958D weakly struck.
Now another thing I will caution everybody about is there is a error term used, and in my opinion 99.9% of the time incorrectly, adjustment strike. I cannot stand that designation because unless you are there to witness it, there is no way to tell the difference between an adjustment strike and just a weak strike from some other cause. So you have to be there to witness an adjustment strike happening. And those typically don't make it out of the mint. There are many things that we just saw Eric's coin. That's a weakly struck coin because the planchet was thin. There are multiple things that can cause a strike to be weak. Just the dies coming out of adjustment can cause a weakly struck coin. That does not make it a die adjustment. Those are done when the dies are first set. They make adjustments because there's a clearance, like we talked about, that this is supposed to a normal clearance between the two dies. And those adjustment strikes happen when the dies are first set. And then whatever they use, they don't even necessarily have to use a coin planchet. They can use just metal strips. Sometimes they do. But then once that's done, that's it. So, and like I said, and typically if they do use a coin planchet, they're either testing a metal or things like that. But a weak struck coin can happen for multiple reasons. I cannot stand that when you see, because people will pay huge amounts of money for die adjustment strikes. They will pay huge amounts of money for die adjustment strikes. And it's absurd. I'm not alone in my thinking on this either. So,
well, and again, if you have to be somewhere, how did it get out of the mint if they know that it's going to come out? I would have issue with that as well.
I would love to see where this is supposedly weakly struck. I see a little bit of weakness up by trust. Usually when a coin is a weak strike,
I would say
starts at the center.
Yeah, I would say if the obverse is weakly struck, it would be K2 to like near K4, that area right there.
And I don't think, so the way the dies are made, a weakly struck coin will be struck in the center before it will be weakly struck around the perimeter.
Yeah.
So I think that is probably either a taper or a bed of grease.
Right. It's you can't really see good enough to.
No, I'd like to see the other side.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with that designation.
And that ultimately, when people say, I get emails all the time, what is this? Mm-hmm. A lot of times my response is, it's something I have to see in my hand because I can't tell from the picture.
And oftentimes I think that some of the third-party graders, when people pay for an error designation, when they send it in, if it has even the slightest bit of hint of an error, they just put like some generic term on there.
That's
like
not a terribly struck coin.
It is not. I would never call that a weak strike, ever.
It is a pretty coin, though.
I would never call that. It is not struck like in opposition to trust. If you see down by the wheat stalk down there where trust would be on the obverse, it's fully struck there. It has the typical weakness around E pluribus and stuff up there.
But it's not that bad. The O and 1.
No, it's got some PIDT. It's got that thing we talked about, the progressive indirect design transfer.
Yeah. And under E pluribus, that is like one of the highest spots on the coin on the obverse. Mm-hmm. So all the metal flows in there. So there's a lack of metal up where E pluribus is.
And it does have a little bit of that PIDT or ghosting, they call it.
That's that indirect die transfer.
Yeah. But I
actually got a pretty significant die transfer.
A weak struck.
It's actually
typical for that year, 58.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, typical for most wheat cents that are mid die state.
So I think that you got a little gift there.
It's a pretty coin. It's definitely a pretty coin.
The problem, anybody who knows anything about errors is going to look at that and go, what?
I'm still well into the learning phase of errors. It's not my thing as far as what I collect. So I've learned a lot in the last 2 years. I've learned a lot in the last 5 years about errors.
They are fun.
The last year. Yeah, the last year I've learned tons and tons of information about errors and varieties.
Repunched mint marks. That was what I always collected.
I got to mute myself for a second because I need to pull the chat back up.
The other stuff was always it was there,
Yep.
So, but now I tend to pay more attention to it than I did in the past.
What other goodies you got to show us?
Me?
Yeah.
What do you want to see? You want to see some varieties?
Sure, let's look at some varieties. So what I want to do is I want to showcase probably once a month, and I talked to Eric and Chuck about this. I want to showcase some of the
copper coin
amazing
stuff.
finds that we pull on copper coins.
This is stuff I pulled out years back.
William, me, I'm still trying to find out what the difference is between an error or a variety.
Want a simple explanation? As simple as I can make it. Now, there's always variance to the rules. An error is something that is created after the die is manufactured. A variety is created when the die is created. That is as simple as I can put it. Is there like everything in life, there is always exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, and more times than not, the variety is going to exist on the die. You're not going to get
always exist on
the die.
Yeah.
Your errors will exist on the coin.
Yeah, errors are created like cuds. It's after the die has been manufactured. It's the die wearing out, basically.
And remember, you got PD and S, right? Planchet, die, and strike. So that's when those errors occur. So they can occur on the planchet, which is what we saw just a little while ago with the cracked planchet. You can have a striking error, which is that off-center rotated die, stuff like that, struck through. Or you can have the strike, which is like ejection doubling.
Where did I put that one?
Which is
I can read you Ken Potter's definition if you would like it. It's very simple.
Is it in Ken Potter's normal talking telephone language, or?
No, Ken speaks in normal language. Mike Diamond's the one who you need a thesaurus.
Mike doesn't watch me, so he doesn't have to worry about getting picked on.
Oh, he knows how I feel about that. So for the purpose of clarification, an error is due to mishap or a breakdown in the process that falls outside of what is considered normal operation, though it may occur frequently. If all tooling is maintained, is gauged properly, and the planchets are proper specification, it is normal for planchets to feed into the collar in a centered position and be struck on center. If any part of the process breaks down, then misstrikes or errors may occur. So a useful analogy that helps one understand the difference between a variety and an error is examining the aging process of human beings. As living beings, we age. Our skin wrinkles, our hair grays, our eyes weaken, we develop aches and pains, and eventually succumb to a disease or a failure of one or more of our organs, etc. These conditions are not the result of an accident or mishap, but are normal to living life and aging. On the other hand, if we fail to look both ways and walk in front of a car and get hit and lose a leg, we've made a gigantic error.
That was way too complicated for something
that's not simple. Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
I think it's simple.
Mine was simple.
But so there are multiple things that people consider errors that are actually just stages of a die's life, and normal stages of a die's life. Cracks, right. Some cracks.
That's simple language.
Some die scratches, die flow lines, missing weak design due to die abrasion, die deterioration doubling, minor clash marks. Those are things that the Mint considers normal with intolerance. But we use them oftentimes as markers to identify dies. So people mistakenly call those errors when they really are just part of a normal die's life.
There's a couple of good ones.
Well, and
varieties, like Eric said, are created. So varieties are born. Varieties are created when the die is created.
And there's intended and unintended varieties.
Correct. Like
The
close
no
AM,
S.
close AMs,
Yeah.
wide AMs.
Right. They were design elements that were meant to be on that die. It's just that die wasn't meant to be on that particular coin. So that's an unintended variety. An intended variety would be like type 1, type 2 Buffalo nickels, or type 1, type 2 Standing Liberty quarters.
All right, I got a few out if you want to look at a couple varieties.
Now, other people will tell you that a die variety is anything that is on the die. So clash marks, things like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Cuds.
Anything on the die that when it was during creation. That's the definition I always say.
Well, that's how
once it's created and put on the press and it starts running coins, anything that's added thereafter is not a variety.
You're never going to get people to agree. You're never going to get the experts to agree 100%.
That's right. That's what I said. That's why I put the disclaimer. There's always
if something on the die repeats exactly throughout the die's life from beginning to end, it's a variety.
All right, there's a good one right there, Frosty. We can start looking at a couple.
Pull it up. Share it.
I'm going.
I like what Starika said. Variety is the women I date. Error is the woman I married.
That's right.
Just haven't found the right variety yet.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, I didn't hit share. Sorry, I'm sitting here waiting.
No, it's all good. No worries.
Well, it's just like with anything we learn, right? We learn differently from different people. Some people's explanations make more sense than others. I love that.
That is
the beauty.
42P FS501.
All right, so hold on. Without saying anything, what denomination of coin is this? Don't say anything, Paula and Eric.
Okay, I won't.
What denomination of coin is this? War nickel AZ coins. Very good.
All right, that's that one. Let's look at.
So it helps you narrow down the years. So
let's look at it.
I was about to go. That P stands for Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Nice.
That is a 1950D FS502.
And that's a pretty late die state.
Yes.
Yes.
What do we got here? Let me see.
And the ones he's showing are
oh, this is a beaut.
They're pretty clear. Sometimes they're not as clear. Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty.
63P DDO number 1 FS101.
So let's talk about this one a little bit. So looking at this, I mean, I know the answer to this, but I want to kind of ask chat. How would you identify this as being different than ejection doubling? What are the things that you would look for? And I want the people in chat to say this. What would you look for? What here tells you it's not just multiple ejection doubling? Because there is some ejection doubling on here. But what shows you that it is actually a doubled die?
Ooh, sorry, I got to mute.
Alex says it's more thick.
That's close. That's actually not incorrect.
That's right. But what are the elements? What are the things that you see on here that tell you this is a doubled die?
The tripled die.
So that's not ejection doubling on the outside of that?
No.
Okay.
It is a TDO.
Oh, very nice.
See, right there and then down. Then you can see it back on the the G here too. Then up on the top.
So I'm not having anybody. It's okay, folks. Again, wrong answers are good answers. Okay. So the way you learn, the way you become more comfortable. Dan McCumber, rounded edges to the device that add to it.
It's dimensionally the same.
Yep.
Yep.
Where the letters are. Machine doubling always takes away from the dimension.
Got some splits, got some notching.
So no, William E., that is a tripled die. That is not a grease-based issue. So what I want to point at, if you can move that coin and let's see the R real quick. See how you can see like those vampire teeth in the bottom
right
of the
here.
R. Yeah.
Goes up
Right
here, goes up right here, goes up.
So they're additive. And what we mean by additive is that they add to the design element. So if you look at ejection doubling, and if you were to take one of those overlays and overlay a normal coin over it, you would see that the whole design element has kind of like narrowed down in itself. And you get that shelf-like appearance on the outside. Whereas if you were to do an overlay on this, you would see that not only do you have the full embodiment of that letter, but there's a lot more to it. And that is where it's additive. And being additive is that key in identifying. Now, sometimes you can have ejection doubling that does a really good job mocking a double die. But again, looking at those devices, looking at those serifs, looking at the edges of the T, the bottoms in the R, the corner serifs in S, that the bottom of the G is amazing on this one. You can just see how it kind of ripples down.
On my desk. I guess I didn't. I had a great example of machine doubling that I've been leaving on my desk for just this occasion, and I cleaned my desk and I must have put it away.
Yeah, but this is a beauty. You were going to show something else with down below.
I was just looking to see where the doubling went. It's on the 9-2. Starts tapering off right here. Actually, it's up there too. It's on the whole. Not so much. Yeah, it's on the E too. It's very minor on the E.
It's a beauty piece.
It is. All right, let's go to the next one. This one.
That is a beauty quarter.
Let's see where the pickup is on this. I think it's America.
As Jer said, that was a nice double D.
No clash over there.
I'm going through a flip, so it's kind of, you can see it right there.
The A, the M, the E. Yeah.
It's a later die state. You can see it on the R. See how far up it goes into the of. You can see it on of actually real good. You can see it on pluribus. See it on state still. But that is, I think, a 41D FS 801.
Is that class 6?
That is class 2, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah, class 6 is distended. So it would be extra thickness. Let's see if I got a class 6 here.
I still need to learn. I've done this so many times. You think I would know what the classes are.
It's subjective. I mean, it is what it is. John Wexler is very kind of scientific about it. James Wiles tends to you can look at 2 coins and he'll have one as a 5 and one as an 8.
That's what I would have. That's what I would have said. That is a 5.
5.
It could be. I didn't look at it enough to actually. I'm just guessing that it's a class 2, but it could be a 5. That right there is a class 6, and you can see that it is an oval instead of a circle.
Yep.
And it's distended.
The bottom of the L, the bottom of the U.
Yeah.
Yeah. The edge on the E. Yeah.
And then of course you see the edge on the wheats. I don't know if it's doubled down here. No. It's doubled there though. It's doubled there. It's doubled on the U.
Yeah, that's nice.
That is a 37P WDDR number 1.
I really like those like stretched U's.
That's
really cool.
class 6. Let's see what we got here. Oh, here's an RPM FS listed quarter.
Cool beans. It's got horns.
And this, let's see if I can get it to step out a little better. It's an S over S over S. This is a FS 801 52S.
See that little notch in the top
right
over
there,
top,
and you can see it go right
top right.
there.
Yep.
And then you see it right here also.
Yep, that's the little step.
So that's what makes it 3 S's.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got another dime here. Oh, what's this?
Think of that Doge.
Oh, this is a cool one.
I don't think they'll close one of them in Azure. I don't know. He's referring to Elon Musk and Vivek. The ones that are going to help us eliminate some of our wasteful spending.
Yeah. I don't know that they'll get rid of one of those.
I don't think they can.
The only reason to get rid of a mint at this point is if they're going to quit using money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right here.
Nice on the R.
And
See it on the E.
And you can find these in mint sets. For all those that have 1970 mint sets, this is a 70D DDR number 2 FS802.
I'll have to go back
Hard
and
to
look at my
see.
mint sets. I've got a number of 70s. Ooh, look
So
at
you
that
can see it on
S.
the S real
Wow.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty. Only thing I've ever found in mint sets are like jacked up planchet issues or die cracks. Never found any really nice variety.
I have
Well, that's what I've been doing the last few days is I'm putting these all in, put new labels, going to put them in my album because this is stuff, like I said, I pulled out literally 20 years ago. And it's just been sitting in boxes.
Very cool. Well,
I got
hey,
one more.
okay. So while you're pulling that up, it's almost 10 o'clock, and I want to kind of do a poll to chat. Now, I'm looking at doing a pretty lengthy stream on New Year's
Look
Eve.
at that dot.
Huh?
I said, look at that dot.
Yeah, this is kind of hard to see too because it's in a white 2x2. And there
You can see it on the F. If you pull it down a little bit, you'll
you can
see
see it
that
on the
one.
O, the F.
Mhm.
It's on America. Let me see if I can turn it. There you go. You can see it on America. And I believe this can be found in mint sets. You can see it on the D.
Yep. But if you go down, you can see it on the dot. Yep. See?
Yeah. And I think you can see it on one of the olive branches or the torch.
What were you doing
There
a
it
poll
is.
on? Yeah.
On the torches. But this is 70D DDR number 1 FS801 dime.
Nice.
And that was found in a mint set. So
are you doing,
that
Bill?
is what I got pulled out. I can just grab random stuff if you want to look at more. Or do you want to do a poll or?
I think he was getting ready to be done.
Okay, let's be done.
Well,
We can do more tomorrow if we want.
so I'm going to run.
Don't run.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull this poll up. So we're looking at doing a couple of things for New Year's. Now we're talking New Year's Eve, starting at about noon on the 31st and going all the way to noon on New Year's Day. Or we can just do a 12-hour stream. I've got a couple people that are engaged in this. What I want to know is who's interested in doing what. So if it's going to be a 12-hour stream and we're going to just kind of go through, I'm going to do a bunch of different topics, have people come up randomly throughout the time.
I can come and bounce in here and there.
Show some coins, talk about some varieties, errors, talk about things that we're looking for. If there are very specific coins, I've got a person bringing a really nice typeset book. We're going to be going over some of that item because I'm doing my commemorative half series. So kind of looking at that. So if this is something that you guys are interested in, make sure you're doing this. Reach out to me and let me know. We're going to be coordinating 12-hour stream that turns into a 14-hour stream, or that turns into a 24-hour stream. Yeah, maybe.
Right.
But again, what I want to do is I want to do something that's going to benefit you, and I want to bring in a number of different people. Bifrost has already said she's going to do some custom art for some people in the stream. So we're going to be giving some stuff away. I've got some silver and gold that we're going to be giving away.
Silver and gold.
I'm going to try and grow to 5K on that time frame. So there's going to be random giveaways when I hit markers for that, because I'm only 165 away from 5K. So doing just a number of things to kind of help grow the channel, but also do kind of like member appreciation. There's going to be some random drawings for member appreciation. Just kind of a thank you. So let me know what you guys want to do. I'll be talking about this over the course of the next week or so, and then I'll be kind of putting out some stuff that we're going to be looking at. But
will there be chocolate?
There will
of
be
course.
chocolate.
Okay. I'll probably be there.
Yeah. So I've got some cool giveaways. I'm actually going to be giving away some licorice. It'll be drop shipped from the licorice place. I've got to find the item. It's Australian licorice. So I'll be drop shipping some of that stuff. I've already talked with them. I've got 10 ANA memberships that are going to be given away during that time frame. Already worked the thing out with them. I've got what is coffee? I can't think of the Black Rifle. I've got some stuff with Black Rifle that I'm going to be doing. They're not sponsoring anything, but that I'm going to be giving away, supporting the first responders and men and women in the military. So I've got a lot of cool things planned. So again, something you want to be a part of, then let me know.
Okay, gotta go. Love you guys.
See you later. Have a good day.
Weekend.
Yep, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, folks. I'll see you in the morning. Take care. Be well, be blessed. And you know where I'll see you. I'll see you in the streams.